So last Thursday, I was sitting at a table right around the corner with my beautiful wife, Mariana, and a senior reporter from one of the biggest newspapers here in London. And he said to me, "Do you really think you're going to win?" And I said, "Yes, I do, actually. When I walk out on the street, bus drivers honk their horns. Black taxi drivers stop and talk to me. People on the streets come up and say, 'I know your policies. I've seen your videos. I've seen your face on these ads outdoors. And Brian, we're with you 100%. And he said, "But wait a second. The polls all say that Sadiq Khan's going to easily win this." And I said, the polls? When were the polls right? Well, let me check. The 2016 presidential election? Wrong. 2019 general election? Wrong. They said it was going to be a close race. It wasn't at all. Blown out of the water by conservatives. 2020 election? Wrong. The polls are wrong. And the polls in this country, I know how they work, right? Because we have actually commissioned some of our own polls. And what they do is they call people up who are at home at night and pick up the phone when a stranger calls, and they talk to them for 15 minutes. And they ask them a series of questions, all right? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't even have a landline at home, and I sure don't pick it up even if I have one to a stranger and talk to them for 15 minutes. So I think they call up the same 1,000 people that they've been speaking to for the last 20 years. And why would you expect them to know that there's a new candidate in town? And so all the polling data is nonsense, and it feeds the narrative of the two-party system duopoly and the mainstream media organizations that either profit or get tips from the two-party system. Even Ofcom, the regulator here in the UK, says you only get to give airtime to the two-party system because the independent candidates don't make up more than 5 or 10% of the vote, typically, until this year. And so the whole system is here to say, in a feedback loop, that independent voices don't come around. And that's why everybody goes with the polling data. But the polling data is not indicating what people are feeling. And you know this if you've seen my videos, my ads, my policies, my interviews. You know that you're seriously considered voting for me. And yet the polls aren't saying this at all. And we ran our own poll, and it said 37% of London voters were undecided as of a month ago. 37% undecided. When have you ever heard that in a poll? It's always like, oh, Khan has 50% and Bailey has 22% and blah, blah, blah. They never say, actually, nearly 40% of those people aren't decided. But that is actually the case. And that's why we believe, we actually know that on May 6th, we are going to pull off the biggest upset in British political history. How would you like to be a part of it? On May 6th, you can vote for Brian Rose and our brand new London Real Party, official today. By the way, I am officially now a candidate to be the next mayor of London. We just got from City Hall today. I made a video a little earlier and a picture. But I'm here to say the polls are wrong. And on May 6th, we are going to pull off the greatest upset in British political history. We're going to fire Sadiq Khan, and we're going to start moving London in a new direction. We're going to make these changes that are so obvious for anyone studying the situation. We're going to rebuild the economy. We're going to kick off August with the great celebration. Today was a sunny day in London. I could see the great celebration and the people on the streets joyously celebrating their freedom back. We're going to safely have 20 million people here in London. I'm going to put 10,000 officers on the street, new police officers. I'm going to pay for them as well. I'm going to stop our bankrupt transportation system in Happy. I'm going to abolish the congestion charge, and I'm going to build 50,000 new affordable homes by Christmas this year. And I'm going to do it to prove a point, to show that these I call them jokers, these other politicians have been screwing around and wasting your time for the last 50 years when they could have just built these homes. And I'm going to do it to make a point, to show what we can do when we put our minds together. So those are my thoughts on the polls. Leave me your comments below. I don't buy it. Don't buy into it. This is a narrative that's used to get the same result year after year. And you know what they say? The definition of insanity is expecting a different result with the same behavior. And that's what's happening over and over again. Let's break the cycle. Let's take London in a new direction. I appreciate you. Leave me your comments below. And on May 6th, let's do this.